Welcome back to SwissWatchExpo. This is Taking Time. I'm Jonathan. This is
Richard.
And today we've got a special high-end selection of entry-level pieces. Stick around. All right, today I think we're going to be doing something a little bit more higher end.
Yeah. So as promised, we said we were going to do sort of an entry level for. We did entry level brands before, and sort of now we're getting into the entry level watches for higher end brands.
Yeah.
So as promised, here we go. So we talked about this, and we kind of like we talked about last time. We were sort of in debate about what led to an entry-level watch, specifically in higher-end brands, because maybe the consensus is that maybe there isn't an entry-level watch in a higher-end brand. So we went back and forth and decided, in the way that we've decided here is just went back and forth about what we thought was an entry-level piece. And so we wanted to kind of give you the debate about what it was and tell you how we got to this level and what we're looking at, because I'm sure if you've noticed, we've got like the holy trinity of watches here, and things like that. So I'll tell you that for me, I kept going back and forth. We were throwing bows, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
I thought that an entry-level watch, even in a higher-end brand, was more or less linked to price and obtainability. And of course, if you guys know what we're looking at here, we're looking at the Aquanaut, we're looking at the overseas, we're looking at the offshore and things like that. So I also thought obtainability is part of the entry-level aspect of a watch, even if it is in higher end. And Jonathan has different ideas that he thinks adds into that as well. And go ahead and tell us what you think that is.
So I don't think it's so much necessarily about value, because the type of clients that are going to be buying this piece, it's not necessarily just solely a base of money. Right. It's, in my opinion, and this is the scenario of, you've got access to this kind of stuff. You've got access to a whole range of products at this level. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it's more about what the watch is going to be able to do for you.
Right.
It's not just price point. And, I think that, versatility is big. Stainless steel is big, because you're not going to buy something gold as an entry-level piece. You're just probably more than likely not. It's either that, or if you do, you're going to regret it later on down the road, more than likely. And you're going to need something that's going to be at least functional. It's going to not just have water resistance, but it's going to go in a wide range of different situations, whether you're, going on a date or you're going to the lake.
Right.
Yeah,
so I sort of concede that fact. So I think Jonathan has I think Jonathan's opinion and my opinion both have a lot of weight to them. And so what we've done was just kind of put that together and come up with our selections. Now, what we'd like you to do is in the comments, let us know what you think. What are the characteristics you believe to be an entry-level watch? Yeah. If you were the one looking at it, if you were going to tell us what it was to you, tell us what it is in the comments. And we've got hundreds of views on the past few videos, and we haven't had a lot of engagement. Tell us what you think, because we really want to know where you're at with this, especially whenever you call the store. We can help you out a little bit better because we'll know more of your opinions. But let's go ahead and get into the watches. Okay. Where do you want to start?
I guess let's start with the lesser end of higher end. Okay. I guess Breguet.
Okay.
The Type 20 chronograph. Oh, this crystal's a little. So anyways, the Breguet Type 20 I think is an extremely versatile piece because it's really Breguet's sports watch. Right. Other than the Marine Classique. Especially now, I think they make it in titanium. Mm-hmm. But I mean, even that's still kind of a fragile watch. The whole point of this watch was, a tool watch.
Right.
And it's still got that kind of, tool type aesthetic to it. It's got a bidirectional rotating bezel. It's a chronograph. Mm-hmm. It's got, the Arabic numerals in, Breguet fashion, the Breguet numerals, and an in-house, column wheel chronograph.
Right, right.
So, I mean, Breguet has huge influence in the history of watches, inventing the tourbillon and...
Right. Huge name. I mean, they've been around since 1775, a far cry from what, Rolex and some of the other younger brands have been around.
1775.
1776,
I'm America.
1 year before.
Yeah.
Two great things within a year. So I'm kind of torn because in my mind, we do have the three brands that kind of are classified as the Holy Trinity. But I gotta be honest with you. For me, if it was my personal one, I really do love Breguet a lot. Mm-hmm. I love the aesthetic they put into it. I think a lot of the other brands, they're all handmade. They're all very small operations, and they limit production and they're phenomenal pieces. But Breguet, just for me, adds a little bit more artisanship because the hand carving, the rose dials, whenever they do the guilloche dials and things like that, all the carvings. So I really
it's all done by hand still.
It's all still done by hand, and there are only a few people in the world that can actually accomplish that feat. So I think it's a beautiful piece. Let's go to JLC.
Okay, one of my favorite brands.
Mm-hmm.
If we had the Polaris in this color dial, just the 3-hand,
yeah.
I think I'd give up the Tudor.
Would
But yeah,
you dunk this one in a bucket of water like you did the Tudor though?
Yeah, because it's 100 meters water resistance,
Okay.
but it's not screwing a crown, so I'd probably be a little bit more hesitant.
Right.
But yeah, and this is not a dive watch either, so it's not geared towards straight dunking,
Right.
per se. But you can
It's got some water
safely take this to the lake and swim in it, I would say. But yeah, this is I think one of the best underrated values for money.
Right, for money.
So yeah, essentially JLC, complete in-house movements started with, I think it was whoever, the Jaeger.
Yeah, the guy that was making the movements himself, and then they combined with Jaeger itself.
Well, LeCoultre
LeCoultre.
was I think the watchmaker.
Right, and Jaeger was the movement maker.
Yeah,
Is that right?
and then they got together.
Yeah. You guys let us know.
Yeah, you guys know a
more.
lot more about this stuff than we probably do.
Yeah,
at
give
this
us a little
point.
bit of insight on that.
Yeah, like they came out with this just a few years ago. Amazing blue dial, chronograph, 100 meters of water resistant, in-house, column wheel chronograph. Excellent finishing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just an amazing piece that I think it's going to do well in essentially everything.
Yeah, and I couldn't say much more about it, just to be honest, because it is just a stunning piece. It's a great diameter size. You look at,
It's 41
millimeters. So I think it's just a
42.
great size to fit on the wrist. I think that's what the industry is going towards anyway, just that larger size. But of course, you get the prestige of JLC. And we did consider this one next to. We did consider this one next to the Reverso, but we decided to go with this one just because we think they're very similar. And again, it's a very subjective opinion about which one we think that would be the most entry level piece, because we got some JLCs a little bit cheaper than this or less expensive, but this kind of lends itself to being a little bit more utilitarian, not quite as a dress watch. You can wear this every day, and so going off of what Jonathan was saying, the usability of it and making sure that it's something you could wear on a daily. So this is definitely one of the ones we think is going to fit that bill. All right, now we get into the Holy Trinity. Where do we start with this? Because
I think we got to start with the original AP.
Okay.
So,
now, they've been around since 1875. Is that right? 1875.
I have no idea. You did the research on
Right.
that.
They've been around for a while.
Yeah.
And they were one of those brands that used to make watches for royalty back in the day.
Yeah.
So they've got a long heritage.
Still do.
Yeah, still do. And they were doing this for high-end government officials and things like that. So, they've been around for a long time. And one of the longest standing continuations of brand history.
One of them, yeah. I think Patek is still the longest
You may be
running.
Could be.
Because they're still owned by like the Stern family. We'll get to that in a minute. But anyways, so AP came out with this in the late 60s, early 70s, the Royal Oak. Essentially, it's a sports watch that was designed for the businessman. And whenever you're getting into this type of watch, I think that, this is as sporty as AP goes without going too big with the offshores. The offshores, they're big, bulky, but I don't think that they're more of an entry-level piece. If you're talking like something that you want to dip half your foot in, not your toe, you're going to go for something like this that's going to give you just, it's stainless steel, and it's going to give you the most use out of essentially anything that AP has to offer that's not completely unattainable.
And it is something you can get, and so I think for me this definitely lends itself to being an entry level piece because you can obtain this watch And so again, this is one of those watches that the market's kind of went over with because I think it is. They went kind of nuts whenever this watch came out, and nowadays it's even more popular. You know, to get this one at a blue dial, it's a boutique only sort of thing. So this watch has gone wildly mad, and we've had these pieces in the chronograph version. To be quite frank, these are still the more popular ones, just because I think it's because of the simplicity of it.
Yeah,
and it's the simplicity of just having a time only. Not everybody's looking for a date, and it's just it's a great size. And again, this was similar to.
Does this have a date or no?
Does it?
Yeah, it
No, it
does.
does have a date. Okay, forgive me. So this one does have a
The
date.
jumbo doesn't have a
jumbo
date.
Yeah, that's right. And so this one and the Vacheron Overseas, we see that these two pieces were designed by Gerald Genta.
Well,
no, not that one. The Nautilus. Forgive me.
Nautilus,
So this one
yeah.
was designed by Gerald Genta, and so this is that's one of the biggest names in the industry. People that really know these watches kind of know how influential he was, and so he's got his hands in a number of brands and things like that. So again, just a phenomenal piece to buy and wear and keep and love.
Yeah.
All right. So what's next?
Let's do Patek. So I think Patek is the oldest brand currently in the world that is still owned by the original family. It's owned by the Stern family. And I think it's like 250 years old.
Something like it. Yeah, something like 1835,
Yeah,
somewhere
it's
around there. And I think
really, really old.
they were around before the Stern family bought them. From what I understand, the Stern family had to bail them out because they were biting the dust hard, and then the Stern family came in and sort of saved them. But again, that's my brief history that I've been able to find out about it. Let us know what you guys think about that, and if you guys have some more information on how.
Did not know that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, anyways, yeah, I think that the Aquanaut is a really good entry-level piece for Patek because, again, like AP, they specialize heavily in higher-end complications.
Yeah.
And we were really debating on this versus like a Calatrava because I think, in my opinion, that Calatrava is very confined.
Right.
It's a dress piece. You're only really going to be able to wear it in like a couple of situations. Wearing it to the office or wearing it at dinner.
Right.
If you're going to break into something like Patek, especially, in my scenario, this is going to be your one watch from the brand or one high-end piece. You're probably going to want to get a lot of use out of it.
Right.
And this, again, is, I think, extremely versatile because, you can throw this on a strap rather than having it on this bracelet. And you have something that's dressy as well as sporty.
Yeah. And I did kind of concede that.
Thin too.
Yeah, and it's a gorgeous profile. It's great. It wears great on the wrist. I don't know if you've ever had an opportunity to try this on, but certainly you should.
Yeah.
Just because it fits really, really well. Yeah, and that was that was actually the debate that caused all the other debates, is that whether or not the Calatrava was more or less the entry level piece, because we, not going to get into pricing or anything like that, but we sell those for cheaper than this one, for less expensive, not cheaper, but less expensive than this piece. And so I think, to Jonathan's point, it does have a little bit less use. It's not something you can wear on a daily basis. So we did ultimately decide to go with this one, just because it is something that, for bang for the buck, you're going to have it and wear it on a daily use.
Yeah.
So the next one I guess we'll go to is
Vacheron.
the Vacheron.
The VC.
The VC.
So, yeah, especially Gen 3, I think this is one of the best sports watches ever invented. So this brand has gone through some ups and downs.
Right. They've been around for a long time, too.
They have.
55.
They have. But, they've gone through a couple of owners. They're now managed by the Richemont Group. But, yeah, the Vacheron Overseas, I think, is like the best as far as the Holy Trinity goes, in my opinion.
Right.
Not because you used to work for an authorized dealer or anything, but it's like, I think it's been tested in the field too, because there's actually a special edition. I don't know if it's like one of two or one of one, but there's a National Geographic photographer that actually wears a Vacheron Overseas while he's out in the field.
Right. Okay.
And I think he's climbed Everest in wearing a Vacheron Overseas.
Oh, that's very cool.
They actually made him a special edition. That's the dual time.
Okay.
And that's the ultimate piece that I would go for. Not the straightforward one as usual. But
that's usually your go-to.
Yeah.
Straightforward.
Yeah. But I'd sell the house. I'd sell any other pieces, and essentially like live on the street to wear a dual time.
You'd be the brokest, richest guy on the streets.
Yeah, right. Anyways, yeah. So they made one in like titanium. The case in titanium. The crown's like coated in rubber, and then it comes with this really cool rubber strap. It's got orange accents, which is just
even more sporty.
Yeah, so it's like even crazier for a sports watch of this level, because usually they're ultra conservative, and
this one certainly. I mean, this one's definitely more conservative in this one.
But yeah, I think it's, and plus it's got gold. Well, Patek's got a gold rotor too, but this is a highly decorated gold rotor that I think is beautiful.
The Patek is beautiful too.
It gives you something to talk about, like whenever you're out for dinner, or like you're waiting on your date. You can just take your watch off and look at the back and say like,
that's a real cool trick to show everyone. It's like, hey, look at this. And,
I bet you didn't know this.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I think the Vacheron has slightly more decorated, so I do enjoy that. But yeah, it's always nice to see it. It's a gorgeous thing to watch. So if you had to pick one, you already going with a Vacheron?
Obviously,
okay. If I had to pick one, I think I'd have to go with the Patek. I just, they've got so many innovations when it comes to watchmaking. I mean, in the early 1900s, they had a master complication pocket watch that was like 24 different complications in one movement. They've been breaking ground in.
Oh, have you seen that one, the grand complication they came out with? I don't know, it was a few years ago. I think it was like 2017, 2018. It was a wristwatch that's like this big for Patek, and it's two-sided.
Oh, nice.
And it's like a $1.5 million watch.
Oh, goodness. Not an entry level watch. Not an entry level piece. So, but I'd probably go with the Patek just because I love the heritage of it. I think they've made some simple watches that necessarily didn't bring great acclaim to their name, but all the other stuff they've done and just the heritage of everything they've done. I would say if I was going to put one on top of the Holy Trinity, I'd probably say it would be Patek. But again, I think I'd probably put Breguet in there too. I don't know which one I would take out, but I think I'd put Breguet in there. So my opinion may be very biased in this, but I'd go with the Patek. And so next video, I think we got something cool coming your way. We think you guys are going to like it. We won't tell you what it is. We're not going to spoil it, but you'll catch us next time. You guys tell us what you like. Which ones out of all these of the pieces that you would think are going to be the ones that's going to be the next one in your collection. If these aren't it, what would be? If you were going to go a different route than the ones we chose, what would they be and why? And so you guys, interact with us. Tell us a little bit more about what you guys think. And yeah, we'll catch you next time.
Like, subscribe.
Yeah, like, subscribe, hit the bell, and all that jazz. Right?
Give us a call. Oh yeah, and put Penny down
there. Yeah, Penny. Don't forget Penny. Got to put Penny in the comments. She's still shaking her head. And so we'll catch you next time on Taking Time.